guys, we are at E3. Now, we're at the PlayStation booth because we have just seen Bloodborne. Now, the man himself, Miyazaki, isn't here to interview, so I've got Nathan.
I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry that I'm here and he's not. But I was very excited. I think the thing that we were all looking forward to after we saw the reveal yesterday at the conference was how much at Bloodborne, how much is it in the lineage of the games that we have seen previously from Software? And the answer is loads. It's really right in that lineage. It's so if we get the points of the things that people want to know is how is it the same? So let's say, and then we'll talk about how the game's different.
Because there's quite a lot of really beautiful nuances that are quite different that I think hardcore fans of the genre will really appreciate.
Yeah, totally.
So you take it away then. What felt really similar?
Immediately the third-person camera behind what looks like a customizable character.
Yeah.
The way he moves, the way he has two weapons. And they look like they can be changed in and out, and the way they affect combat. The combat itself is the same. The sound effects for combat when you slash something are the same. When you kill stuff, souls appear to fly into you.
We didn't know that they didn't say they were souls.
No, but they fly into with that same noise. And
was that your soul noise? Did it
yeah, it was pretty good.
Really
that's not. I can't. It needs more of a metallic ring, but that happened. And then there are items on some corpses, and they lure you into traps. They wouldn't pick them up for us. We did ask. And also the other big thing about the Demon Souls and Dark Souls games is that anywhere you can see, you can get to, you can reach. So you know immediately. You kind of walk into this giant fantasy world and you go, well, that looks brilliant. And then not just it looks brilliant, you can get there. Maybe not for hours, but eventually you can. So that's how it's the same. So it is. If you're looking for the next thing, you play Demon Souls and Dark Souls. Yeah. This is next. Yeah,
this feels familiar.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
exactly.
a nice way of putting it. So the character itself is very, I want to say Van Helsing-y, very kind of the Order with a long kind of leather coat, face all covered up, so we couldn't really see anything character defining.
That's true. Yeah. So and we don't know whether he's one individual character or whether you can build your own customizable character. I guess it was worth saying as well that this is no longer the kind of medieval fantasy world of the previous games. We are in 19th century Gothic. Yeah,
very 19th century. It's definitely fiction, so we're like something like The Order is very based off Whitechapel in London. This is completely fiction.
Yeah. But the look of it is it's like if you set a Demon Souls or a Dark Souls game in a Hammer horror movie, you have like cobbled streets and yellow lamplight and fog and people with burning torches. Yes, torches. Yeah, no, and so atmospherically it's different, but it's got that. It's still creepy as all heck, and it's still a horror game. Those games are as much horror games as they are anything else.
So the character itself was wearing leather. They said this is very different. The fact that it's not armor, and this meant that you were much more agile, and the movements were much more fluid, which they did. They looked beautiful, and like as you moved, the way the cape would kind of swoosh around with you was really. You definitely noticed that next gen feel to it.
Absolutely, like the character was wearing a kind of a leather. He had like cloth, like robes and trousers, and then he had like a leather. What do you call it? An epaulette?
Something I think you would,
around his shoulders. He looked a bit like, it looks like a highwayman's kind of cape, short cape. But that was leather, and there was blood all over it from the enemies that he killed. But then different lights, reflected lights, so like I said, the yellow and then white light from the full moon, because obviously this thing's got a full moon, were reflecting off this cape in different ways. And I was kind of looking at it. So I think Dark Souls looked good for a PS3 game. This is just on. Well, it's another level entirely. It's
so the weapon we saw was like, imagine the switchblade that you get at the barbers. It was like a giant handheld switchblade, and this guy also had a gun. Now the gun would be classed as the secondary weapon.
Blunderbuss.
Now, the blunderbuss. Now with this kind of side weapon, if you had it closed up, this made it really quick, really light to use, but less powerful. If you switch it open, it became sort of longer swings, which took up more time but did more damage, and you could switch between the two. While the gun, since it's not Call of Duty, you could be used more of like a one-shot to kind of break people up, break the defense, and you could get in and do some damage. And they did say that with that combination, you couldn't block.
There's no defense.
There was no defense, it was dodging.
Like if you play Dark Souls with a crossbow in your offhand, but that crossbow was very, very powerful indeed. It would be like that. And similarly, I mean, in terms of people who've played the previous Dark Souls, the weapon going from a short, quick weapon to a long weapon, I mean, people would have that in their own kind of inventory, like quick select anyway, but now it's just on this single weapon. So it's interesting to see. He said there were other transforming weapons in the game. This is just one of them. So that's obviously something that they brought in to kind of to give another kind of dimension to the combat and to your inventory and how you load yourself out when you go into different areas of the game.
I'd say things like Dark Souls with weapons that you recognise, whether it be spears and swords and daggers. There were medieval weapons that you could go to a museum and see. Where I'm thinking maybe when you've seen the Switchblade, which is very fantasy, I wonder if we'll see more of that, sort of more like invented weapons rather than things that already exist.
I expect a bit more kind of engineering, kind of industrial age feel to the weapons. Yeah.
Now the town itself, the sort of population were kind of infected with some kind of illness, this madness. So they were the kind of attacking you on sight.
Well, he said the word hollow. That's what he did say that. He said they've been kind of hollowed out.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, unless I just really wanted to hear it, which is a possibility.
Which is also a possibility with Nathan.
I do hear what I want to hear.
But at one point we were kind of following them, and they were all sort of moving towards somewhere. So all of the enemies were moving in a direction. And if we kind of held back and just followed them gently, they weren't attacking us because they hadn't seen us. And they were really encouraged to kind of wait and watch, hang back. And if you were to run in and be a complete tool, they all would have just turned around and come at you, and you would have been butchered.
Well, interesting, because normally when you the effectiveness of going through a Dark Souls or a Demon Souls level is finding out where everyone is and how to deal with them. And this idea that they're doing their own thing within the level, the NPCs, like I can't remember a situation where that's happened before. So then you kind of, as well as creeping around and being terrified of where everyone is, you're kind of going, well, they're doing something. What the hell are they doing? You know, and it might not be that you can just sit there and wait them out. You've got to, you know, deal with it and interact with it in some way.
Like visually, when you did get into fights, I found the battles visually way more dynamic. So the camera just knew where to place itself to make that attack look the most stunning or the most just sort of powerful. I found that they'd really kind of clocked that. It wasn't kind of stuck at that one camera angle. It knew when to zoom in, pull back, swing around, and it really made the battle look breathtaking.
There was a kind of a boss battle against like a tree
creature,
like
creature,
a treacher. Anyway,
a treacher.
And he picks you up like bosses do. A giant hand swing picks you up. And it was, again, like you say, I think it was dynamic, but you were framed perfectly from the side against the moon, and then he smashed us into the cobbles. You kind of go, well, that looks, you know, that was good.
I'm dead, but that looks great.
Yeah, well done for killing me like that. That was beautiful.
The lighting is the other thing, is stunning as well, and that all kind of helped. Just there was one bit we went into a house. It was kind of like, as we're walking through the cobble streets, there's like open doors that you can kind of go into, and you quickly got to take that offhand weapon, pull out a torch, and the way it kind of illuminated the room was definitely a next-gen PS4 kind of thing.
Yeah, as we said in our playthrough of The Order, if you want to make a game look good, light out with orange flame light. That looks beautiful.
That's our benchmark, orange flame light. It's incredible.
Yeah, it looks great. I think,
We saw NPCs as well. We saw an NPC kind of on the bridge being attacked by enemies. These were these enemies. Imagine a crow the size of a human, but it doesn't fly. It just sort of drags its rotting body across the floor towards you.
And it was horrible, but it's not just that, but any ground level creature that you see in one of these types of games, you kind of go, okay, and then you know it's going to do something horrible.
It was
and
horrible.
These things were like crawling along on their wings, but then had a lunge attack, obviously. That's exactly what they sounded like, Holly. That's uncanny.
But if you're this NPC, you kind of have a choice. Do you go help the NPC or do you not? And if you help them, maybe they'll come and help you later on. So I thought that was interesting, how you could potentially.
I mean, that's a feature of the Souls games. You know, like you want, and we were kind of thinking, you know, if I save that guy, he's going to turn up and then sell me, you know, a miracle,
sell me out,
a hat,
sell me a miracle,
he's going to be back
sell
down
me
by
out.
bonfire area. No, he's not going to sell. Well, that could happen too. Sometimes they're untrustworthy.
I think that's all the little points I've got written down. We saw about a 10-minute demo. It was really detailed. We really hope we'll be able to share some gameplay with you soon, because for the fans of the Souls series particularly, I think you're in for a real treat. It is PlayStation 4 exclusive. It's stunning 1080p.
This is what you want. This is the game you want.
This is what you need. There you go. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Us two just basically gushed over Bloodborne. It was amazing. Don't forget to stay tuned to the channel. We've got loads more coming up from PlayStation. Of course, loads more for E3.